reality of the situation is that definitely some of the culpability, some of the onus is on your shoulders. Yes, he hit 7 of 22 shots last night, but the reality of the situation is he didn't make anything when it mattered most. At one point in time, he was like 1 for 12, 1 for 13. He was just absolutely awful. We know this, but at the same time, where I can't completely fault him, guys, is he's taking the same shots he's always taken, okay? Usually he makes them. He's just missing. He can't buy a basket right now, and it's just that simple. But when you look at the New York Knicks, they're not supposed to be predicated on that. It's supposed to be about Carmelo Anthony moving the basketball as well as scoring. He was scoring, but he wasn't necessarily moving the basketball. That's number one. It was supposed to be about a team that knew how to play defense, and even though they've been playing defense in this series, clearly it's not good enough because they don't make the necessary stops when they need to. They don't do anything to stop the bleeding. Number three, they were supposed to have depth. I kept telling you all year long it was a double ARP squad, Skip. You know that. This is why I should have stuck with the Pacers instead of allowing my heart to get involved when I knew they were a bigger and better team, all right? But I got caught up in the heart because I'm a native New Yorker and I suffered enough. My point is, you've got a double ARP squad. Kurt Thomas, 40 years of age. He's out. Marcus Camby might as well be out. 38, 39 years of age. He can't buy a piece of playing time. You've got Rasheed Wallace. We know his foot. He's out. He's basically retired. He'll just basically announce it yet again, even though he has already. And then, of course, you've got Jason Kidd, who can't buy a basket. In the last 7 games, the man has not scored a point. Now, I spoke to Jason Kidd last night, and he brought up a very valid point when he said, when has it ever been about scoring with me, Steve? When has my scoring ever been the ingredient to a team's success or failure? That's ridiculous, and he's absolutely right about that, which brings me to Coach Mike Woodson, who I respect, who I think has done a good job. And let's not get carried away here. It's not like I'm sitting there and saying he doesn't deserve to be the head coach of the New York Knicks, because I'm happy and proud that he is the coach of the New York Knicks. Division title since 1994, first time since then that's happened. 2000, you hadn't gotten beyond the first round of the playoffs since 2000. You did that this year. All of those things are true. But he's dropped the ball in this to some degree because he repeatedly sticks to JR, won't take JR out of the game, won't dissuade him from shooting that much, won't play Chris Copeland, won't play anybody else, even a Steve Novak. Somebody, in the end, the New York Knicks, they don't even look like a team right now. I'm so disgusted with them, it makes me want to throw up. But I'm not going to do that on national television, Skip.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just going to let you talk.
I hear everything you just said. Before I answer Kerry's question about J.R. Smith's responsibility for what's happened to your Knicks, let me first say that after the game was the textbook approach to diffusing criticism. It's the manual for every pro athlete should learn from what J.R. Smith did last night, Stephen A., because he stepped right up and he owned it. He said, it's all on me. It's my fault. I let my team down. I let my coaches down. I am the most to blame. When you own that way that he did, you diffuse, you make yourself almost a sympathetic figure instead of the target that I thought he was going to become today, which is very interesting to me. Now, does he deserve to be that target today? I say yes. I'm going to put about 50% of the onus on the shoulders of J.R. Smith, Stephen A., because how many times this year have we talked about what Kerry always brings up? You live, die by the 3. No team in the NBA lived and died by the 3 any more than this team did. As you know, Stephen A., they led the NBA in three-point makes. They made 11 a game. And what did it do? All those things you just talked about. It covered and canceled all the flaws, because there's no shot in basketball like the three-point impact shot. As you know, Stephen A., it's a psychological dagger, and then it counts 3 instead of 2. You look at the scoreboard, oh, 3 went off. Oh, wow. It has shocking impact. And think about this. Coming off the bench, J.R. Smith made 155 threes this year. Carmelo led the team with only 157. So in 3.5 minutes a night less playing time than Carmelo had, J.R. Smith would come in and just detonate your Knicks. It was liftoff. He was the difference maker for this team. So what happened? Game 4, he gets suspended. And from that point forward, as you point out, he just missed 65 out of 91 shots. We're back to the Tim Grover description of the levels of superstardom, Stephen A. You know, the 3 levels. J.R. Smith has star talent, but he's in that third level of the cooler, the guy who got the spotlight suddenly and couldn't live up to it. Because remember, Sixth Man of the Year, then he gets suspended and makes the comment, we'd be playing golf right now if I hadn't got suspended. And the spotlight, national attention was on J.R. Smith, and he couldn't live up to it. He shrank. He got worse and worse. So all of a sudden, your Knicks don't make threes. JR was 1 for 7 through 3 quarters last night. He heated up in the fourth quarter. Well, like you said, it didn't matter. If you're not making threes, you're going to lose. And again, I give the Pacers credit. They have really good three-point shooting defense. But I've seen a lot of open threes that your Knicks have missed. It's as simple as that. Live, die. They are dying.
Well, you have a point, Skip. The last thing I'm going to say is this, though. Live and die by the three. It should have never come down to that. And if you're going to live and die by the three, it can't be based on 1 or 2 people. Steve Novak can shoot threes. He's not getting any PT. Chris Copeland can shoot threes. He comes into the game, hits 2 threes, brings you back within striking distance, and then you put him back on the bench. That's why I sat there and put some of the onus on Mike Woodson. But primarily, most of my onus goes on the shoulders of Glenn Grunwald, the so-called general manager for the New York Knicks, for putting this squad together. Because they're basically 3 points or bust. Yep. Nobody builds their team that way. You have absolutely nobody to throw it to in the post, and you have no one big enough to play in the post that can pull big men outside. This is one of the reasons why Miami's so effective, because Chris Bosh can pull big boys away from the basket because he can hit those jumpers. And my last point is J.R. Smith has cost himself some money. Remember, the New York Knicks are in a position where they could only give him about $24 million. He was expected to cash in at over $45 million this offseason. After this performance where he shot in the 20 percentile range in 3 of the last 6 playoff games, he has hurt his market value tremendously.
All right.
And I'm sad about that.
Stephen A., you said yesterday and then you said today in the meeting, Game 4 was deciding. Walk us through the rest of the series. How will it end up?
Knicks win tomorrow night, even though most people don't believe they do. I believe they've got some semblance of pride, and they like to fool us. They'll win Game 5, and then they'll come back here for Game 6 and lose to Indiana. But I assure you, they'll be here without me. I'm not coming back to this place to watch them lose Saturday night. I'm not wasting my time.